Shall we talk about the Death Cap mushroom trial, which sounds like a strange band name, but is actually the trial which has been gripping Australia as well as much of the world. This is the story of a woman called Erin Patterson, who's on trial for the murder of, I think, 4 of her kind of family members or extended family members, as well as the attempted murder of another. Allegedly invited them all round for dinner to make some alleged announcement about her needing to undergo some kind of procedure. But anyway, the long and short of it is she fed them a beef Wellington that was laced with poisonous mushrooms. So it's an incredible story. I think Chris has probably brought this up because he's developed an unhealthy obsession with unlikely, alleged, in this case, killers. But Will, do you want to enlighten us a bit about what's been going on here? I think on the day we're recording, it's the 29th day of the trial, so it's really been wearing on. But what are the kind of key points to take away from this?
Yeah, so... a couple of things. Number one, mushrooms were actually going to be on my shortlist for things that I would ban.
And not just the poisonous ones, to be clear, like just in general.
I agree.
Okay, right,
horrible,
They are a fungus. They grow on rocks. You shouldn't eat them. And I think this actually really validates my prospective mushroom ban. Look, it is an interesting one. I'm tempted to play the Peter Hitchens role to the Christopher Snowden and basically say that this loony woman is innocent.
No one saw her do anything.
She doesn't seem the type, Chris.
Well, the one thing which is interesting is like it is at the moment circumstantial.
So in that case, she must be innocent.
There is that similarity. But apparently, she said she was inviting over these acquaintances. They weren't family members. I think they were family friends or something like that. In order to discuss a prospective health issue that she was having. The prosecution have said, well, no, that's garbage.
Well, yeah, because she said she had cancer and she doesn't.
Yeah, so she's previously lied about her health before.
Allegedly.
And she said that was...
I'm going to keep saying that all the way through.
No, she hasn't got cancer. That's a fact.
No, that's true. But she's claiming that she actually, I think it was to announce that she was going to get a gastric ban. But there's now questions about whether or not she was actually going to undergo that.
I thought she said she had cancer.
No, that was the original cover story. She's now said actually she was going to get some sort of weight loss procedure. And now they're saying the clinic...
You invited us around to tell us that.
It's one of many holes in this story, I think.
So she apparently had a spare dodgy mushroom pie ready to go if the first one didn't work. And apparently it was very, very unusual for her to be socialising in this way. You know, something is up.
Yeah.
So look, time will tell. It is the case that has
gripped the nation.
Yep. Which I think possibly says more about the Australia than the case itself.
All the details, I think, which is probably why it's one of the reasons it's a great story. Like supposedly she dished up all of the poisonous mushroom-laced beef Wellington on one coloured plate for all of her guests, but then a smaller kind of different coloured plate for herself.
That kind of thing, allegedly.
It was all, it's got everything.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? The giveaway is that she managed to escape the dodgy pie.
She only had a bit of it. I think she went off and was sick.
Yeah, well, that's quite clever, really.
It's very clever.
Yeah, because if you were going to be completely guilty, you'd just avoid the pie, or you'd create a different pie. So she actually fully committed to the bit by just having maybe a couple of mouthfuls.
How the poison throw up. There's a scene like that in Narcos, I think, when someone does something similar, passes around a glass. That glass is full of poison, quickly goes.
Chris, if you wanted to get rid of a few, characters that you would rather not have in your life, how would you dispose of them?
Well, I wouldn't involve mushrooms because I feel exactly the same way about mushrooms. You do horrible, slimy things.
Awful.
How can you eat something that grows in the dark and that is frequently poisonous?
They're a fungus.
I don't believe in God as such, but like if you create something that is firstly tastes disgusting, can only be grown in slimy, dark, horrible places. Yeah. Unlike every other thing we eat, which needs light.
This sounds a bit like victim blaming to me. You're saying that they brought it on themselves by eating in...
Well, in a way, yes. If they were sensible, they wouldn't have eaten the mushrooms, would they? They would have done what I would have done, which is pushed them to the side of the plate and ate the beef. Mm-hmm. So, sorry, what was the question?
Well, if you weren't going to use mushrooms,
how would I kill someone?
How would you get rid of someone?
Oh,
a new segment on the show. That's good. I can imagine it's something you devoted a lot of thought to.
I'm not going to say on air, am I? I mean, for goodness sake, I haven't done it.
So you've actually got plans to do it? That's
well, I'm not going to incriminate myself on a very popular podcast.
On a separate but related note, and look, this is probably a good thing, but modern technology has completely destroyed the serial killer industry. I just felt like in the 70s and 80s, so many serial killers.
There were a lot of serial killers.
And a lot of crackers. You had your Ted Bundys and your Dahmers and all that. With modern technology and cameras everywhere and DNA evidence, it really, I think, has narrowed the lane for serial killers.
It's a tragedy, isn't it?
It is a tragedy.
Because what people are going to watch on Netflix?
That's right.
Exactly.
That's
In
right.
20 years hence, what are they going to be boring over?
You make a good point, Will. Obviously, it's harder to commit a lot of crimes these days, apart from shoplifting in London and everything else in London. But like serious crimes like that, police actually do pay attention to. But have they stopped, or have serial killers just got better at disposing of the bodies of drifters?
Yeah.
So we don't know.
It's an interesting question, isn't
We
it?
don't even know murders have been committed.
Yeah. I think it would have gone down. Food for thought.
Or maybe they've just-
I think they've just adapted. They probably use the technology themselves.
I think, as in most cases, younger generations just have less get up and go than they used to do. You see it in this area, you see it in all kinds of other ones. It wouldn't surprise me.
They're not leaving the house.
Exactly. If you're never going to leave the house, you're never going to, kill 14 people. That's just
live a little.
I hadn't thought about the decline of serial killers as a sign of civilizational decay, but
it's an idea.
It's an idea.
It's something to ponder.
It's something to ponder.